judicial councils of both societies, members of both societies, Honorable Dr. Kappist and Dr. Harrison, judges and guests. When the negative came into this debate tonight, their goal was to be the big bad wolf. Their goal was to come out and blow down our house of arguments. The negative has done no such thing tonight. What they have done instead was build a house of straws right next to our brick house, blow it down, and say, house is gone. They have presented non sequitur after non sequitur. I'm going to take you through each of their arguments and tell you why each one of them is misleading and how it is completely unsubstantiated. First, let's talk about these huge appeals to authority that our friends over there like to make. They have cited Donald Rumsfeld and Robert McNamara. Guess what? Donald Rumsfeld invaded Iraq. Robert McNamara invaded Vietnam. These people are not flawless. They make mistakes. Here's another quote for you guys. Even the devil can cite scripture for his purposes. William Shakespeare. They've also asked, what if an irresponsible actor gets a hold of a nuclear weapon? What if an irresponsible actor gets a hold of a nuclear weapon? Are we now saying that Mao and Stalin were rational actors? No, they were irrational. They killed tens of millions of their own people. They had no empathy for human life, yet they did not use nuclear weapons because of nuclear deterrence. They have tried to paint us as warmongers, advocating for nuclear proliferation or advocating for the use of nuclear weapons. We are doing no such thing. This debate is a dichotomous debate between the state before disarmament and the state after disarmament. Let's look at what nuclear weapons do. They create a psychological state in which no nations are actually going to use nuclear weapons. Nations create nuclear weapons for second strike capabilities in order to respond to a nuclear strike. Yet, they still fear the use of nuclear weapons. They still fear the use of nuclear weapons. So we have this paradox in which no state is actually, will most likely not use a nuclear weapon. It's a very, very small chance, yet they've still deterred conventional war. They have tried to paint us as the figurative bully on the anthill, that somehow inequality leads to international instability. If you look at international affairs, power transition theory says exactly the opposite thing. Power transition theory. It says that inequality in power actually leads to more stability because nuclear deterrence leads to no two major powers attacking each other. When there are proxy wars, when there are other smaller countries attacking, those are significantly more stable than if, say, the United States and China were to go to war. Guess what? China flew a stealth jet into Haiti during the Haiti relief efforts. They flew a stealth jet. We didn't know anything about it. If we disarm, guess what will happen? They could potentially fly over New York City and possibly drop napalm. Conventional war could very well become the new norm. Nuclear weapons have prevented conventional war. Now, let's look at terrorism. They talked about terrorism multiple times, that terrorists could possibly obtain nuclear weapons. Let's see why that is very unlikely. Terrorists would have to first test the material of nuclear weapons. They would have to purchase nuclear material from other nations. They would have to purchase the non-nuclear components of the nuclear weapons. They would then have to smuggle the weapons into the United States. They would have to do all of this. They'd have to do all of this while avoiding international intelligence agencies. Terrorists do not like to fail. Let's look at the psychological mindset of terrorists. They do not like to fail. This is because they're trying to invoke terror in their victims. They're trying to invoke terror in their victims. Now, this isn't done after they fail multiple times. I think we can reasonably say the chance of a nuclear attack is very low. So they do not want to risk failing over and over and over again. I feel a lot safer right now after the United States has thwarted over 20 terrorist attacks since 9/11. I feel a lot safer now. That's not what terrorists want. If you also look at a Rand Corporation study done in 2009, it says that jihadists believe that failure signals God's disapproval. Thus, jihadist planners are more conservative. That is why a nuclear terrorist attack is almost borderline completely unlikely. all the misleading arguments that the negativists make goes on and on, far from the idealistic world that the negative has purported. Complete nuclear disarmament would be detrimental to United States national security.